introduce everybody. We have currently Andrea Carter and Kelley Vila. Please tell me if I say it wrong. And then we have Summer White that will be joining us for our panel that is all things food related programs in the state of Arizona. And so with that, I will let you take it away, Kelley.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Great. I will be in just a moment. Can you see that okay? Great. So I am really happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And thank you to those who have already presented. They're so interesting to hear from familiar and less familiar projects and folks doing work across the state. So thank you. My name's Kelley Villa. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm part of the Pinnacle Prevention team. We're a statewide nonprofit organization that was founded back in 2014. And we have a variety programs and policy work that we push across the state, both at the state level, also at the federal level, but also in our local communities as well. And so I wanted to share a little bit about, you may know us from some of the programs that already exist up in Northern Arizona, but I also wanted to share that we are involved with policy and research related to statewide food policy work. We do this work through the Food Systems Network, as well as advocacy at our state legislature. Not as much during this current legislative session. However, last year we were doing pushing several bills, and I could talk more about that if you're interested. We also have a component of our work that's related to joyful movement and active living. So we have a piece of our team that's focused on what it means to have equitable access to trails, green spaces, pedestrian and bike safety, and making sure that those pieces translate into policy and programs here in Arizona, particularly in rural communities. And then myself and our food systems team focus on our nutrition assistance programs. So that can look like SNAP, can look like Double Up Food Bucks, and also can look like the Farmers Market Nutrition Program. And I'll share a little bit more about these partners that already operate the program here in Northern Arizona. But in case you're not familiar with these two key nutrition programs already, just wanted to run through who's eligible, which is kind of the top section, what those folks are eligible for, and where the programs operate. So on the left, you'll see Double Up Food Bucks. That's the program for which I serve as the main contact. This is a program that helps folks that use SNAP EBT or food stamps benefits double their money at participating markets, CSAs, farm stands, brick and mortar stores, as well as mobile markets. So essentially it's a buy one, get one free program. And it operates when someone purchases items with their SNAP card, a $1 match, $1 for dollar match is triggered at that point. On the right side, we have our Farmers Market Nutrition Program. In the past, this has looked like checks that move around farmers markets. We have moved that to a coupon-based program that operates directly out of the market information booth, and it's for folks that are participating in the WIC program, as well as low-income seniors. And this operates at farm stands and markets across the state. And also we have senior pantry partnerships in select communities, such as the Winslow area, as well as the Kingman area. And I can talk about that in a moment. We like to share this slide just in case you're not fully bought into this. Hopefully this slide can help you come to a place where we are seeing a triple win for all of these programs. But just in case supporting farmers doesn't happen to be your main priority. Perhaps it's economic development, perhaps it's supporting families, but we think these programs support all three at the same time, which is why we are advocates for them. We are supporting families by expanding their monthly food allotments through the programs such as SNAP and WIC. And we're also supporting growers because these benefits are specifically for Arizona grown fresh produce. And so we are putting these benefits go directly into growers' pockets when they participate. And then last but not least, all of these programs are funded by a combination of state and federal dollars, which means that when those monies are spent with local businesses, local food businesses, we are circulating additional currencies in our local economies, which is good for everybody. Many of these partners you probably are very familiar with and know closely. So I wanted to thank them and give them a special shout out during this presentation because these are our partners across northern and eastern Arizona, many of covering Mojave, Coconino, Yavapai, as well as Navajo and Apache counties. And we would always love to see more partners in northern Arizona since there are many, many miles in between these individual sites. So we can briefly just cover that part of the process to participate in SNAP and Double Up is a USDA application. Happy to talk with you about exactly which category you might fall into, whether it's a direct marketing farmer, a farmer's market, or something else. You'll talk about and decide what kind of card reader you might want to accept payments with. You're going to decide on a currency, and we'll walk through this with you step by step and have a contract in place to support that work, to have your work be fully reimbursed through the program. And I didn't want to go into the weeds too much on that, but I wanted to encourage folks, if you're interested in participating in any of these programs, we'd love to talk with you and schedule kind of a one-on-one appointment with you. There's a link there, a bit.ly link at the bottom that you can fill out a few pieces of information and we'll schedule an appointment with you so that we can address your needs specifically. But these are some of the questions I would offer to the group. If folks still have questions about how the programs work, I'd be happy to talk about that during the Q&A. If you're thinking about the local folks that you interact with and participate, would they be interested in participating, and or what barriers might they experience? We're interested in talking about that. And number 3, thinking about what Arizona grown might look like for your region. We're very focused on supporting Arizona growers, and we also are very flexible and collaboratively oriented. So we are very open when growers and other entities want to team up with each other. We really support that and encourage that. So we're excited to talk with you more, and thank you again for having me. And I really look forward to Summer and Dr. Carter's presentations as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes. Kelley, for that. Everyone, Kelley is an amazing resource. There are so many programs that the state is offering, as well as probably will be offering. It seems like there's some things coming down the pipeline, which is really good for our local economies, our local farmers, and our local food consumers, especially those that are taking advantage of our Double Up food bucks. And so just so everyone knows, what we're going to do is have Summer provide a presentation, and she'll be talking about her organization, her farm, as well as some food programs that she uses. And then we're going to have Andrea Carter present. And then at the end of that, we'll have a brief little Q&A. And then for anyone that wants to really dive deep, you can go to any of these ladies' booths and you'll be able to reach out to them, as well as we have pinned to our chat on the stage. We have the link that Kelley had talked about. If you want to do a one-on-one meeting, we're going to have that pinned. And then if Summer or Andrea, if either of y'all would like something pinned in the chat, let us know. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? I'm not the most tech savvy here with this platform. It's super awesome, but I'm very new. All right. So I just getting my slides up here. Thanks, everyone. All right. So hi, my name is Summer White, and I am one of the land stewards here with Roots Micro Farm. I'm super excited to talk with all of y'all today during this awesome summit. I'll be giving you a brief background of what our place has been within the Flagstaff food system and chatting about our experience partnering with a local grower-focused program, the Arizona Food Bank Network's Friends of the Farm program. Next slide, Darren. So I've got a couple pictures of our farm here. As you can see, we're a small-scale urban farm in downtown Flagstaff. We sit on a 1/4 acre of land that was previously an empty lot. This land has been cultivated by us for the past 6 years for the purpose of growing nourishing food, herbs, and flowers for the local community. Since 2020, myself and my partner, Michael Malcolm, have been the primary land stewards, and it's been quite the learning process for us, being young growers and new business owners at the same time. And yeah, these photos are kind of looking forward at the front of the farm. So we've got like our main growing space in the front. You can see there's a hoop house in the back, and then there's a bit more growing space back there, but we try and maximize our spaces as best we can. Next slide. And so Over the past few years, we focused on providing our products to the community through a number of avenues. Michael and I took over the farm a few months before the pandemic hit. So our CSA program, where folks came to the farm to pick up produce weekly, ended up being our main source of income that season. The farm's more traditional forms of income through the Flagstaff Community Market on Sunday mornings and providing weekly drop-offs to several local restaurants in town came back online for us later during that year and have once again become a steady source of income for us. But outside of selling what we grow, we've also used our space for events that connect the community to our mission. So we've hosted over 10 farm to dinner events in partnership with local chefs, several field trips with schools to provide hands-on learning, and a build your own bouquet event this last fall, to name a few. Next slide, please. And so primarily our focus has been the growth and distribution of microgreens. Their quick turnaround time and market value have kept our small operation afloat. You can see pictured here, we mainly do radish and sunflower microgreens. This is also the primary product that we were able to provide through the Friends of the Farm program. So we were first approached in the fall of 2020 by a representative from the Arizona Food Bank Network. And although we were winding down for the season and couldn't commit to a large contract, we were able to sell excess amounts of microgreens through their program at full price, which was huge for us, considering just all the hardships of the pandemic and actually having excess produce quite often, just because some of our more traditional, forms of distribution weren't functioning like they had in the past. So in 2021, the Friends of the Farm program actually became another one of our main avenues for distribution, which has been great. And so we'll dive into that a little bit more specifically. So next slide here. So this past season, we were able to commit to 2 full contracts with the Friends of the Farm program. From May through October of 2021, we're able to provide over 1,200 clamshells of microgreens to the Flagstaff Family Food Center. So that was our distribution center that was closest to our farm. And so the microgreens were purchased from us at full price, and we were able to set the amount of product that we thought we could provide for each contract. And this kind of changed a little bit based on the first contract that we had started in May. So that was kind of, the CSA was just beginning, and the market hadn't ramped up as much. So we were able to provide a little bit more during that time of year versus later in September and October. We were doing the market every weekend and we were kind of selling out. So we weren't able to provide as many microgreens each week. And so with that, there was also a decent amount of flexibility for us. So if one week we had more containers and the following week we had less, that was okay, so long as we met our total commitment in the end of the contract. And so another great benefit is this program offered us a 50% prepayment for our commitment in spring before we had product available, which was actually just a great start to the season. It's always great to have upfront funds, and we were able to use those for costs like constructing a new hoop house, which is actually in this picture here, where we primarily grew our microgreens this past season. So our representative from AZ Food Bank Network worked with us, and the overall program made it very easy for us to participate. We were able to set a drop-off time with the Flagstaff Family Food Center that worked for us. And on our end, all we had to do was get proof of receipt and send a copy to our rep every week. And that was pretty much it. So once we filled our commitment, we were paid the rest of the amount due. It was super easy and ultimately didn't require a lot of outside time for us. So long as your drop-off site is close, that's kind of a key part of it, I think. So yeah, my final slide here is actually just some contact information that I pulled from their website. So I've had a great overall experience with this program, and I definitely encourage any growers who are interested in participating to reach out to the AZ Food Bank Network. If you visit the website and scroll to the bottom of the page, the website that's linked here, and maybe we can drop this in the chat. But if you scroll down, there's a Google Forms application that you can fill out. But honestly, I would suggest just reaching out to April through her email directly if you can. That's who we primarily worked with and corresponded with through our contracts. So I think I'm a little bit short here on time, but just open any questions for the end. If we have any growers that are really interested in being a part of the program. Obviously, I'm not a representative of the Arizona Food Bank Network, but I can definitely speak more to our experience and as a grower. So I think we might be one of the only growers in Flagstaff that's participated in their program this far, but I also know that there's great potential, and I think Kelley might be able to speak on this too, more funding coming through the state to hopefully help bolster this program and provide it in more counties. And so, yeah, thank you all so much. And my contact information is on the next slide, and I'll be around for questions. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Summer, for your insight. I did want everyone to know that the new coordinator, and I put their information in the chat, but I think April is another person you could reach out to. The organization's great. They're all friends. So talking to one means you can talk to all of them pretty quickly. And then once again, just so everyone knows, we're going to do another presentation from Andrea, and then we'll have like a 5-minute Q&A for everyone. And so I'm going to just pull up your slide here, Andrea, and take it over.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you all for inviting me today to share. And Summer, what a beautiful farm you have. That was really nice to see. And boy, working this job has made me appreciate all the work that farmers are doing to grow the food that we have in this state. So just really cool to see about your operation. My name is Andrea Carter, and I am the outreach agronomist at Native Seed Search. So I'm joining you from Southern Arizona today. And so today's presentation, I'm just going to overview some background about the organization itself, and then our seed access programs that may be of interest to farmers, community gardeners, and backyard gardeners alike. Next. So Native Seed Search, we are a nonprofit organization. We have a seed bank where we steward seeds of the Southwest. Our mission is to find, protect, and preserve the seeds of the people of the greater Southwest so that these arid-adapted crops may benefit all peoples and nourish a changing world. Next. So what's in the seed bank? There are over 1,800 different varieties in the collection. These are food crops, wild crop relatives, ceremonial seeds. It's a wide variety from the greater Southwest region. In the next slide, they'll provide some more detail about what those seeds are, but where did those seeds come from? So the organization was founded in the early 80s, and the founders at that period had been working in the Tana O'odham Nation here in Arizona. And the feedback they were getting in their work was that what folks really wanted, there were seeds that their grandparents had, right? There was a lot of food being grown and distributed on the reservation. And the feedback was like, well, these cabbages and radishes are great, but what we really want are our foods. And so this inspired the formation of the seed bank, and inspired a lot of the collecting that went on in the 80s and 90s. That is why we have the seed bank today. About 12,000 of those varieties, we know the donor or farmer who gave those seeds to the organization. And that's great. I had the pleasure of meeting the descendant of an original donor of seeds from San Carlos this past we did a workshop a few weeks back, and that was so cool because now they were growing the seeds that her family had shared with Native Seeds, right? So there was this foresight to know we might need these in the future. And like we see across America, and particularly in Native communities, there was less and less farming going on. And so when you have agriculturally based societies that aren't farming, then you have a loss of culture. And so there was this idea of, well, maybe we'll preserve these so they may be available for future generations. So we owe a lot to the foresight of those original donors and farmers who gave to the collection. Some were purchased at markets, and some were wild harvested, like chiltepins and a lot of the greens that we have in the collection. Next. Okay, so this map is showing each dot represents an accession or variety that we have in the collection. So you can see it's the Southwest, but that includes mainly Arizona, New Mexico of the US, and then Northwest Mexico. So a lot of the collection is from Mexico. Again, these are traditional crops such as corn, beans, and squash. These food crops make up the majority of the collection, and the majority of these seeds are affiliated with indigenous communities of this region, listed here. So we've got Hopi, Dene, Tana Atam, and then tribes of Mexico as well, like the Mayo and the Ramari. Next. This graph is showing kind of the makeup of the community origins of the collection. So again, you see about 50 close, the majority is Ramari, again, Northwest Mexico, but then also tribes of the Southwest. And when it says unaffiliated there, what that's referring to is non-Indigenous communities, but still regionally significant communities like Mestizo, Mormon communities, Chicano communities of the region. Next. Okay, so what do these seeds look like? And I tell you, this is my favorite part of being at Native Seeds, is being exposed to the beauty of these food crops that we can often forget about when we go to the grocery store and it all looks so similar. And then you see, wow, you can eat a Mormon runner bean that's originally from Mexico and brought up by Mormon families to Utah. So again, beautiful beans. This jack bean is a perennial bean, super unique. And next. Also beautiful corns. And these seeds aren't just beautiful, but they're tied significantly and culturally to the communities from where they're from, right? So they're not just food, but again, this is integral to communities and identities of communities. Next. Oh, next slide. Oh, yeah, there you go. So where are these seeds living? Right now, where I am in Tucson, these seeds are housed in our seed bank where we store the seeds. We're storing them in ideal conditions for long-term storage. So this is cold, low humidity, and dark, right? This pictured on the right is our walk-in cold storage room where we're going in to grab seeds for packaging. And then we have a freezer that's kept at 0 degrees Fahrenheit for more long-term storage, like where we keep the original seed samples in there. Next. This is our conservation center garden. So we grow out some of the seeds here in Tucson in our garden space. We particularly grow out the seeds that we have small quantities of, so we can increase them before sending them out to farmers who increase them more, so then they can then go out through distribution channels. Do come visit us. Whether you want to volunteer, check out the seed bank, see the garden. We're welcome to have visitors for this. Next. Okay, so a lot of our work is also education around seed saving, the importance of it and how to do it. So we have resources like the Saving Seeds in the Southwest booklet that we provide to our community seed grant recipients and farmers, and then online resources like this practical guide for saving seeds that's available on our website too. Next. So where do these seeds go? How do they get out to the people? The organization really has a seed conservation through distribution model, right? That the seeds are conserved when they're grown, when they're eaten, consumed, and shared throughout the region. So the primary way this happens is through our retail outlets. Right now that's online at nativeseeds.org, where folks can purchase seeds. Next. There are seed packets. Okay, our other seed access programs that are integral to our work are free seed programs. So this includes our Native American Seed Access Program, which provides 15 free seed packets to Native American individuals living in or belonging to tribes of the Southwest. So here's our seed listing for this year. This is our seed catalog. And within there, you'll find a form to fill out for the Native American Seed Program, which will soon be online as well, where folks can order their seeds and have them shipped. You can also call us with your seed order too. So that's one important way of getting seeds out to folks whose seeds are tied to their community. Next. Okay, the other seed programs are community seed grants, as I mentioned. So these provide 30 free seed packets to community garden projects and food access projects working on food security in the Southwest. So pictured on the right is Nawuri Denzon. They were a community seed grant recipient, and they've been doing awesome work of getting food out to the community, particularly during COVID. We just did a seed saving workshop, and they've been a wonderful partner. So for those of you listening in who are working on, whether it's a school or a nonprofit farm that's working on food access for those in this region, do apply to these seed grant programs. Now, the other program is our Partner Farmer Program. And I'd like to give a shout out to Bill Robinson, a long-term partner of the organization, who's been a very valued community partner. He's revived seeds, has gotten seeds out directly to communities, as he's talked about, and that's a big goal of this particular program. So that's what I oversee here at the organization. This program provides seeds at no cost to farmers in exchange for a portion of the harvested seed being returned to Native Seeds at the end of the season. We also recently have started contract programs where we'll pay farmers for larger quantities of returned seed. So for example, it's $15 a pound for corn, $10 for beans. And this is to help incentivize and acknowledge the time, resources, labor, and water costs that go into seed production, and to encourage seed production as an on-farm income source. So here's Justin Casaquito. He was a partner farmer with us up in New Mexico. He grew Hopi sweet corn, and he was doing it on a summer break between college and is an aspiring farmer. We've got one of our board members holding human yellow corn that he grew out in Southern California. So it's been great to connect to growers, and a purpose of this program is seeds connecting to communities of origin. So we will work with growers to get seeds of interest to them, that they have cultural connections to, that they're passionate about. Again, with that exchange program, what's being returned to Native Seeds is a portion of the harvest. The idea being that the farmers are saving that seed for themselves, for their communities to share and to eat. Next slide. Here's some more pictures of the partner farmers. Angela King-Sawan, who's of Raramuri, Antigua descent. She's actually Milwaukee, an urban farm, but with her ancestry, she's been a long-term supporter of Native Seeds, and we got her some Raramuri tobacco and corn that she was super excited to grow, and that's such a pleasure to help facilitate that cultural connection, and it is a goal of the organization. Courtney Lewis, who is in Fort Mojave, she's the farm production manager of a community farm out there, Avakwame Farms, and I'll share a quote from her about what I asked her, what is being a partner farmer mean to you? Why do you want to do this? And she shared, having our corn back means not only ensuring our future, but reclaiming our native resilience. We've become so integrated with Westernization that we lose focus on our end goal of being protectors of this land. To me, this is how I get back my Mojave pride. And I've heard that a lot about the sense of pride farmers feel when they connect with a seed that's of their culture, right? There's sometimes, and this is in my own personal experience, you sometimes don't know that your community had a certain variety, had developed a beautiful corn or a gourd, and then you get to connect to it and grow it, and there's certainly a sense of pride that you can feel, and that always, I think, encourages us here in our work. Next slide. Okay, so here's my contact information, and I'm just ending on the note that we are still seeking farmers to help us grow out and increase the availability of the seed varieties we steward. So if you're interested in the Partner Farmer Program or the Community Seed Grant Program, by all means, check us out at the booth. Reach out to me by phone or email, and I hope to hear from some of you here about participating in this program, which is open to native and non-native farmers in the region. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. So finish this, just so everyone knows, we're going to start the next panel in a couple minutes. We want to give these folks some time to answer questions. And so the next panel will spill into our lunch by a couple minutes. So hopefully that's okay with individuals. Would like to ask a question. I know, Kelley, you had kind of answered it in the chat and we sent it over, but how do your programs work for on-farm pickup?
A great question, and I'm really glad that Dr. Carter also ended with a call to action, because we also are seeking additional partners for our programs. We're in the expansion mode. We were expanding through the pandemic because folks were really interested in continuing to support their fellow neighbors and community members with these programs. So we too are also seeking additional partners across Arizona. With regards to how the programs work on on-farm operations, whether that's a farm stand, farm store, or U-Pick operation, we always want to create a custom, flexible solution that attempts to mirror what is already happening on farm. And so we do need an individual on site at a designated point in time to help folks sign up and administer their benefits to customers. However, we want to work with each site individually, because we know that can look very different across different models in different states, whether it's on farm at someone's house or some other place that is not necessarily super accessible. We can absolutely work with you to figure out what would work based on our requirements, but we really prioritize flexibility again, and try to meet folks where they're at with not adding too much new stuff to current operations, because we know you're very busy.
Awesome. Thank you so much. A question for, are partner farmers with your organization required to be not-for-profit organizations?
No, we work with for-profit farms. Most of them are small-scale farms across the region, but many of them are selling to CSAs, to farmers markets, and they're designating a portion of that grow out for seed, right? So they're harvesting the majority to sell squash to market, and then leaving 10, 20 squash to save seed from. So we're open to non-profit farms as well, for sure.
Awesome. So question kind of in that thread, when it comes to your geographic region, you showed that map. Do you all provide, obviously you said you have grants and monies for certain geographic places. Will you work with, say, anyone? Because it looks like someone's from the LA, Los Angeles area. So I'm just kind of curious where your boundaries are, or how that kind of is divvied up.
Yeah, LA is within our region, our service region. So, and we also partner with indigenous, like nonprofits and serving institutions that are in arid regions outside of what's considered Southwest strictly. So if the main goal for us, for the community seed grants, is that they're serving indigenous communities, and that exists in LA for sure, right? You have a large Latin American population, Many of those folks have ties to these seeds. So yeah, it certainly can be outside of it.
Thank you so much. And I did want to let everyone know that when we originally posted Kelley's link, there was an extra letter, unfortunately, and so we do have that pinned to our chat. So if you went and the link was broken, sorry about that. You are free to go and look at that link. We do have another question. Is there a projection to get native crops into larger scale farming operations? So like bigger than who you've been working with?
That's, yeah, what, if that happens, there's a desire for these foods to be more widely consumed and known, because they're nutritious, they are low input often. So as we look forward with climate projections and prices of water and scarcity of water, there is a interest in in popularizing these varieties as part of sustainable agriculture, right? But at the same time, our focus as an organization, I would say, is more the community connections. Prior to it becoming commercialized, is that seeds are thriving in their communities of origin and are really there.
Awesome. And it's wanted to, so everyone that's maybe not looking at the chat, you in Los Angeles, person said in the chat, the largest urban diaspora, I always say that word wrong, sorry everyone, of indigenous Americans is in the US, is in LA.
Yep. Yeah, so we work a lot with LA community gardens. Yep. And Las Vegas too. Yeah, Nevada. Mm-hmm.
So then with that, if there's no other questions, wanted to let everyone know that there are booths once again for each of these individuals, as well as there's a booth for the Friends of the Farm. The Friends of the Farm folks were busy today because there's so many things always happening every day in these spaces. So we want to thank everyone that takes time aside, but you can reach out to the Friends of the Farm program through their booth, or you can talk to Summer about any of her projects. There were a couple people, Andrea or Summer, that were interested in your clamshells and how you go about that. So everyone look for that. And